And when we got there and I saw Tashan lying on the platform, it was a shock.
Last September, the Daniels family world was destroyed when a young son, Tashan, was stabbed to death in an unprovoked attack in broad daylight.
What people need to realise is real life and which isn't real life, because at the end of the day they're getting confused and they think taking a life doesn't mean anything, and they don't realise how many people are devastated when you take someone's life like Tashan's.
Sadly, their story isn't unique, as knife crime continues to devastate families every single day across the UK.
He was reaching out for my hand and he was saying, "I'm going to die, Mum, I'm going to die." He was in so much pain, and I was trying to reassure him and saying, "You're not going to die, you're not going to die, you're okay, you're here with me now."
This is the story of how knife crime is blighting lives.
It's a good ball. Chambers first time, good drill in!
Last year, on 24th September, future Olympian Tashan Daniel was heading to the Emirates Stadium to see Arsenal face Nottingham Forest for his 20th birthday present. Police stated two men launched a senseless and totally unprovoked attack around 4 p.m. in the afternoon on the platform at Hillingdon. As his son left home that day, his father was unaware he would never see his son again.
So I got a phone call to say that something had happened involving Tashan. Celia rang me, said that she'd got a phone call and to go to the hospital. And then when I rang the other parent, who was Tashan had gone out with, they said an incident had happened at the station and Tashan had been stabbed. I literally didn't believe it because I knew Tashan wouldn't be involved in anything like that.
Two men have been charged with murder in connection with the stabbing death of Tashan Daniel. Both Alex Lanning, 21, and Jonathan Camille, 19, have pleaded not guilty to Tashan's murder. The trial was due to take place at the start of April at the Old Bailey, but current social distancing guidelines in the UK mean that it's currently on hold.
Wonderful things about my son. I knew he was
Got their life. They're going to go to prison, maybe for any time between 15 to 20 years, maybe. But they've still got their life and they can still get on, their families can still get on with their lives, knowing that their child is alive. Maybe will all that be in prison? But this sentence really is over us for a lifetime, having lost Tashan.
Tashan was a dedicated athlete who was going to run for his country. He had been selected to train in Florida through Hillingdon Athletic Club, which would have taken him to the Olympics. Revisiting the training ground for his best friend, Leon, is now bittersweet.
I always kind of feel a sense of happiness when I come to the track, purely for the fact that Tashan was always here, always grafting, always putting in the extra hours as well. So it does bring me joy to come here. I remember all the great times that Tashan had here, the wins, the injuries as well, as he did have a few. But no, it does give me happiness, but also obviously sadness as well to know that he's not here with us today. Tashan was my best friend. He was the person I'd always turn to if I was feeling down. It's quite funny, Tashan was actually never down himself. He was always that positive person, always kind of the one to bring you up if you were feeling down, always the guy to go to for a laugh and stuff like that. But also on the other side, he was my role model, to be honest, because I looked up to him to see how hard he was training for his athletics.
For the Headley family, knife crime has also cast a dark shadow over their lives. Ross Headley was a teenage victim of knife crime who fought for his life.
Middle of the night when two police officers came and they really hammered on the door to make sure that I woke up, and I looked out of the bedroom window first to see who it was, and they just said, could I come downstairs so that they could talk to me, so which I did. And as I opened the door, they stepped in and they just said that Ross had been stabbed and his condition was life-threatening and that I needed to get to that hospital now. as I'm driving to that hospital, he could already be dead.
He was seriously injured after being stabbed by his friend, who has been jailed for 13 years.
It wasn't a gang or anything that he was hanging around with. This was actually his friend that he trusted with a previous history of knife crime.
Former Derby Divisional Commander Jack Atwell, who is now the city's Knife Angel ambassador, has his own ideas on why knife crime is so prevalent in British society.
In total, we ended up with 125,000 people over 28 days, and that varied from people visiting a day. Because we had it lit up at night, it also became an attraction for a lot of people to come and enjoy the art piece, because it is essentially a stunning art piece. However, one of the key things was around messages that had been left on the Knife Angel. So we had name tags where people could leave messages for either loved ones or just remember those who had been affected by knife crime.
Knife Angel, also known as a national monument against violence and aggression, has helped raise awareness for cities around the country.
It's been made of 100,000 knives, but where those knives come from? Well, they've come from police amnesty, so people have been giving their knives up. And then when you have a look at the range of knives, that range is what's being carried on the streets. And one of the key things around the Knife Angel is around the education side. You know, when you start talking to people and have a debate, be it on social media or whilst you're stood there, it starts that generation, particularly that younger generation, having those discussions.
The Knife Angel has also about 60 blades with families engraving names of those that have been killed.
So that then starts people's thinking, well, actually, what they might think is as fun to carry a knife, or think it's brave, or think it's the thing to do, and start understanding the consequences and stories of how some of those individuals died. You know, there are people who carry knives and actually become a victim of their own blade.
London is in an epidemic. Enough is enough.
Tashan's family and friends are determined something good will come from his death. They're now campaigning to place knife crime at the top of the government's agenda with a march organised last December.
On a march recently on December 7th, and our goal for that actually was to introduce a minimum sentence for carrying a knife. Because I'm not sure if you know, at the moment, if you get caught carrying a knife, it's just a kind of a slap on the wrist, you don't get anything. We want it to be the same sentence as carrying a firearm, which is 5 years, because at the end of the day, they both can take lives.
The last few months on the Tashan Daniel campaign, I want to thank those.
One thing we found that went with Tashan and his group of friends, they were busy either with sports or photography or whatever their interest was, that they didn't really get involved in that kind of aspect of going down the road of knife crime or getting involved in gangs or anything like that. So this is one thing that the campaign is trying to promote. I think that's important, but you know, it's not going to help every child out there. There's lots of children that are too far gone.
More people are stepping in to help with the issue. A family business based in Fiskerton started creating urban clothing to tackle knife crime.
I want to understand that if you do that and it goes into the body, look.
Figures show that 47,000 offences took place last year, when 92% of people admitted to hospital assaulted by a sharp instrument were men. Statistics like these inspired Craig and his family to save lives.
Yes. This is an imperfect solution to a perfect problem, unfortunately, and I hate the fact that we've even got to make it exist. A layer of protective material and fabric that we've developed inside the clothes in two ways. One is to stop you getting cut on the limbs and the arms, and the other one is to stop you getting stabbed in the torso. All with the aim of preventing fatalities. So what we're not doing is, these aren't stab vests. These are not protective armour for people to wear. These are normal clothes for normal people to wear to prevent fatal wounding and actually get them home.
With the nation's horrific knife crime epidemic on the rise, some say it's essential that changes are made.
Even if it saved one life, I mean, that life could have been Tashan's if people were stopped and searched.
Scotland has been one of the main ones. They had a huge problem with knife crime up there. It was just known for it. And their response has been to tackle it like a public health response, you know, where it's a multi-pronged attack from all agencies, all trying to work together.
It can reduce, but that doesn't just mean the Knife Angel coming. It's got to be an educational programme, it's got to be enforcement by the police service, and it's also got to be about youth activities to get younger people doing other things and not getting drawn into knife crime and gangs.
Then why don't we group together and make one national campaign? We're stronger together than we are apart. And then finally, the government may see us because we're so big that they have to take it seriously.